friends, and welcome to It's And today we are going to be reading Chapter 1 of Judy Blume, Freckle Juice. Let's get started. And if you have your own copy, please follow along. Chapter 1, Freckle Juice. Andrew Marcus wanted freckles. Nicky Lane had freckles. He had about 1,000,000 of them. They covered his face, his ears, and the back of his neck. Andrew didn't have any freckles, but he had 2 warts on his fingers, but they didn't do him any good at all. If he had freckles, I'm just gonna turn off this. If he had freckles like Nicky, his mother would never know if his neck was dirty, so he wouldn't have to wash. And then he'd never be late for school. Andrew had plenty of time to look at Nicky's freckles. He sat right behind him in class. Once he even tried to count them, but when he got to 86, Miss Kelly called, "Andrew, are you paying attention?" "Yes, Miss Kelly," Andrew said. "Good, Andrew. I'm glad to hear that. Now, will you please pick up your chair and join your reading group? We're all waiting for you." Andrew stood up in a hurry. His reading group giggled, especially Sharon. He couldn't stand that Sharon. She thought she knew everything. He picked up his chair and carried it to the corner where his reading group sat. "You may begin, Andrew," Miss Kelly said. "Page 64. Time to flip our pages. And in this image right here, everyone's reading, and Andrew's worriedly looking at his page while Sharon's giggling. Okay. Andrew turned the pages in his 64. He couldn't find it. The pages stuck together. Why did Miss Kelly have to pick him? Everybody else already had their books open to the right page. Sharon kept giggling. She covered her mouth to keep in the noise, but Andrew knew what was going on. He finally found page 64, right where it's supposed to be, between pages 63 and 65. If he had his own freckles, he wouldn't have to count Nicky's legs. Then he'd hear Miss Kelly when she called reading groups, and nobody would laugh at him. Later, when the bell rang, Andrew poked Nicky Lane. "What do you want?" Nicky asked, turning round. "I was wondering about your freckles," Andrew said. "Oh, yeah. What about them?" Andrew felt pretty stupid. "Well, how did you get them?" This photo, Nicky Lane is looking back at Andrew with a weird face. "What do you mean, huh? You get born with them, that's how." Andrew thought that's what Nicky Lane would say. Some help he was. "Line up, boys and girls," Miss Kelly said. "Time to go home now. Sharon, you may lead the girls. Andrew, you may lead the boys." Some luck. Just when he got to be leader, he had to stand next to Sharon. When they were in line, Sharon whispered to Andrew, "Psst, I know how to get them." "How to get what?" Andrew asked. "Freckles," Sharon said. "Who asked you?" "I heard you ask Nicky Lane about his." Sharon ran her tongue along her teeth. She was always doing. "Do you want to know how to get them?" Sharon asked. "Maybe," Andrew told her. "It'll cost you 50 cents. I have a secret recipe for Freckle Juice," Sharon whispered. She now weird on our page. In this photo, in the photo over here, he's holding a worm in the lineup. A secret recipe. Sharon's tongue reminded Andrew of a frog catching flies. He wondered if Sharon ever got a mouthful of bugs the way she opened her mouth and wiggled her tongue around. Andrew inspected Sharon's face. "You don't even have freckles," he said. "Look close," Sharon said. "I've got 6 on my nose. Big deal. A lot of good 6'll do. You can get as many as you want. 6 was enough for me. It all depends how much freckle juice you drink." Andrew didn't believe Sharon for 1 minute. Not 1 minute. There was no such thing as freckle juice. Andrew had never heard of it before. And look, Sharon is whispering to Andrew. Okay. Now we are turning our page. Okay. Bye-bye, guys. See you next video. Well, we'll read chapter